And we're joined live from all the provinces across the entire country. Of course, the Gauteng Alengas are here joining us today because, after all, we are live from the GCIS in Pretoria. We also like to welcome live with us today, on top of having the Minister of Basic Education here, we would like to also welcome the Deputy Minister, together with the Director General and the MEC for Education in Gauteng, right here live with us. There's a lot that's going to be going on today, and the moment has all arrived for everything to be revealed. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, please do watch this. I think we're seeming to be having some technical difficulties with regards to the technology, but I'd like to also emphasize the fact that, oh, there you go. Thank you very much for that. As I stated, I will be your host for this afternoon. My name is Itumeleng Kenneth Mohanu. I'd like to call upon the Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Dr. Regina Mhaule. Please, could you come forward with your welcome remarks? Thank you.
Minister of Basic Education, Honorable Motshekga, MECs for Education in the 9 provinces of the education departments who are joining us via streaming, senior officials, our DG, Mr. Matanzima Mweli of the Department of Basic Education, leaders of the teachers' unions, SGB associations, representatives from various stakeholders in education, and fellow South Africans. Sanbonan. There is a Xitsonga phrase that says, Jonzo ishihlangu shavutomi. Roughly translated, education is the shield of life. We have provided the class of 2020 with their first shield that will protect them through the rocky and treacherous terrain in life's journey. When the class of 2020 started with their final year of high school, no one imagined that we would be heading towards a very turbulent storm. In spite of the myriad of challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the DBE and all its warriors in education achieved a positive impact on the class of 2020. Given the decisive leadership of our Minister, Mrs. Motshekga, the DBA ensured that well-designed and effective interventions and support programs shielded the most vulnerable in education. One of the barometers to evaluate our success in the South African education landscape is the National Senior Certificate Examination results. Today, our public examination standards are compared to the best in the world. The National Senior Certificate has stood the test of time, and after 12 years of teaching and learning, this qualification has intrinsic value for both individuals and society. It must be acknowledged that in spite of a very difficult year, this cohort exceeded expectations. It is a pity that this class may not have been granted the full opportunity to demonstrate their full potential. As indicated, the analysis that we have done confirm that the class of 2020 would have been our strongest cohort. It must be reiterated that the COVID-19 pandemic does not remove any of DBE's priorities outlined in the Action Plan 2019, but reshapes the existing priorities. The overall goals of the basic education sector remain the improvement of the quality of learning outcomes and the reduction of education inequalities. This is in line with government's National Development Plan. For example, in 2021, the National School Nutrition Program needs to be better prepared to ensure that food continues to be available for learners from poor households, even during school closures, as good nutrition is the stamina of effective learning. Moreover, understanding pandemics and viruses needs to feature more strongly in our schools, and in particular, the life orientation curriculum. If teachers and learners understand these topics, they are more likely to embrace the behavioral change that pandemics necessitate. School infrastructure needs to support hygiene and the uninterrupted supply of water. The Department of Basic Education will spend much time reflecting and evaluate its performance based on the outputs of the 2020 NSC examinations. In addition to being better prepared for natural crises like COVID-19, will evaluate the analysis of the learner outcomes in terms of the various dimensions that have presented. Speaking of connection, we have noticed that I used the Xitsonga saying at the beginning of my speech. In 2021, the DBE is committed to improving the offering and boosting the esteem of African languages. We have come a long way to offer standardized examination in all 12 South African languages. Yes, you heard me correctly, 12 languages. Since 2018, South African Sign Language is an official language offered in the NSC examination. However, more must be done to reaffirm the offering of at least one African language by all learners in all African schools. My sincere appreciation to the Government of the Republic of South Africa, the Portfolio Committee and the Select Committee on Education, parents, learners, educators, and all stakeholders that have assisted the department in braving the storm and making the 2020 academic year a reality. There are many individuals who might have criticized because of lack of knowledge at the time, because we all did not understand the pandemic, but I want to thank our Minister, Motshekga, and the MECs in all 9 provinces for soldiering on with the support of all stakeholders to make sure that this academic year, of course, not in the expense of the lives of learners, become a success. Let me conclude, Program Director. I didn't greet you when I started, by welcoming you, Program Director, and all that are gathered here and all at home. You are all welcome to the announcement of the results of class of 2020. Let us pay attention to everything that will be said. Let us make this afternoon a memorable one. I thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Dr. Regina Mhaule. Thank you very much for that, Deputy Minister. What a year. And I'd like to repeat and say what a challenging year, particularly for education. And I think given those very challenges, Deputy Minister, I must commend you and your team. You guys have done quite a great job. And congratulations, by the way, for that. I am soon going to be asking the Minister of Education, Minister Angie Motshekga, to come. But before I ask her to come, please, could we watch this?
Quarantine and having to do so much schoolwork at home. It was challenging, but I think we got through it. And it was also a bit scary because we didn't know what was going to happen, if we were going to have exams or not. My biggest fears was that I thought I wasn't going to finish Matric. And also not writing exams, because we never wrote it, in the beginning we didn't write exams at all. So I didn't even know if I was going to write my final exams. And yeah, I think it was just the fear of not finishing and having to repeat the Matric year. I would say that it's just focusing, hard work, and always never to give up, also a positive mindset. Because if you have a positive mindset, then you will be motivated to do a lot of things, and it will get you through the year.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. We're going to be playing another video for all of you to watch just before the Minister comes to join us. We're having, again, some technical difficulties in this regard. I know we're all gearing up to be listening to the Minister Angie Motshekga to come and announce the 2020 results for the Matric class of that year. If you could please just help me welcome Angie Motshekga.
Good evening, Program Director, MEC Lissufi, who's here, my colleague, the Deputy Minister, Dr. Mhaule, the different MECs that are connected from the different provinces, our senior officials, DG and heads of department in different provinces, our partners in the sector, our teacher unions or organized labor, our parents, our learners, the most important people this day, and members of the media. Indeed, Program Director, we are gathered here to announce the 2020 National Senior Certificate Examination results. We are announcing these results in the context of what the NDP enjoins us to do, which is what we always repeat, and I quote, that by 2030, South Africans should have access to education and training of the highest quality, leading to significantly improved learners' outcomes. It says the performance of South African learners in international standard tests should be comparable to the performance of learners from countries at a similar level of development and with similar levels of access. A close quote. It is without doubt that the 2020 academic year will be remembered as the year that not only presented major health challenges, but a year that, that the entire world was gulfed by novel COVID-19 pandemic, and government with its partner departments and its strategic partners worked very hard to strike a balance between saving lives and saving the year of 2020. We heard one of the learners says he was worried about having to repeat Matric. Fellow South Africans, the Council of Education Ministers has approved sector priorities that lay the foundation for quality education, as well as contribute in providing permanent solutions to the architecture of the education and training system of our country once and for all. And these priorities inter alia include improving foundational skills in numeracy and literacy, which should be underpinned by a reading revolution, and ramping up early childhood development, which includes the urgent implementation of a 2-year ECD before grade 1, and therefore we have to migrate the 0 to 4-year-olds from the Department of Social Development to basic education and develop a framework for ECD. The other priority for this term is immediate implementation of a curriculum with skills and competencies for a changing world in all public schools, particularly ensure that the 3-stream curriculum model works well, that our children are prepared for the 4th and the 5th industrial revolution. They are given entrepreneurial skills, and the schools of specializations are strengthened. Our curriculum is decolonized, amongst many other things that we have to do during this term. But we also have to continue to decisively deal with quality and efficiency through the implementation of standardized assessments, amongst others, at various exit points of the systems, grade 3, 6, and 9, to remind you, and offer a general education certificate. Last time when I announced that we are going to have a general education certificate, the public was quite surprised, perhaps because we had not been repeating what is in our legislation, that we will be offering this general education certificate, not as an exit to go home, but as a way where learners are directed to different pathways and introduce multiple qualifications and certifications. We also have to work hard towards an integrated infrastructure development plan. We also have to work with the sister departments in sports, recreation, arts, and culture to promote social cohesion, health, and school safety. And finally, in line with our commitment towards an inclusive education and ensure that no child is left behind, because the sector needs to work to continue its work to improve and strengthen education and provision for learners with special education needs. You shouldn't be surprised, I have 2 different ones. I have 1A and 1B because I've been changing. So, Program Director, during the announcement of the results of 2019, we did inform the nation that of these 7 priorities. We can report at least on one of them today because it's about assessments, not on all the other priorities. That we have indeed participated in international benchmark assessment studies, one of them which is PILS, it is Progress in International Literacy for grade 4. We also participated in TIMS, and we received the results last year, and it is Trends in International Mathematics and Science, but also participated in SACMEC, which is Southern and Eastern African Consortium for Monitoring Quality Education, which works on benchmarking grade 6. And we can say in all these international benchmark assessment studies, we have been proving or providing evidence that our basic education system is definitely on the rise. It is a system on the rise. So we are proud to announce, for instance, that last year, with the 2020 team, because we received the 2020 team's results last year, in South Africa, we participated in these benchmark studies and again pointed towards an upward trajectory in the past 11 years. So the latest team's results of 2019 explained in the context of many forms of inequalities, an education system that continues to improve on its achievements and continues to bridge gaps on disciplinary knowledge and educational outcomes. The team's 2019 results again confirm a steady increase in the percentage of grade 5 learners, because that's what it assesses. And just between 2003 and 2019, as a country, we've increased our points from 104 points in maths and 102 points in science. So I want to hear about what we are here for, National Senior Certificate, so I'm getting there. So last year, Program Director, during my budget vote on basic education, we did remind the nation that we are increasingly prioritize interventions, improvement programs and policies that target to improve quality of learning and teaching, and implementing accountability systems to ensure that the quality outcomes are achieved right through the basic education system. And our interventions for both learners were targeting learners at risk which are underperforming, targeting learners who are moderate, and also targeting high achievers. And this differentiated approach was meant to address both content deficiencies that may prevent learners from achieving good educational outcomes and support moderate to high achievers to improve their performance, thereby improving quality of learning throughout. This we had to do despite the devastation brought on all of us by COVID-19. We had repeatedly informed the nation that our interventions were not only confined to saving the 20 academic year, which was an understandable concern from different communities, but we also worked very hard as a sector to ensure that we contribute towards the saving of lives. The staggered reopening of schools from around June, it lost almost a term, and the differentiated timetable, the trimmed curriculum, the regular provisioning of school, and the trimmed curriculum, the regular provision of school feeding, provision of psychosocial services, and all of these were to ensure that we can deal with the risks which were outlined by the World Health Organization. But World Health Organization says this about school closures, and I quote, it says, during COVID-19 pandemic, prolonged school closures may result in a reversal of educational gains, limiting children's educational and vocational opportunities, as well as their social and emotional interactions and development. The longer learners stay out of school, the higher the risk of dropping out. And accordingly, learners who are out of school, and particularly girls, not only them, are at risk of vulnerabilities, including teenage pregnancy, but not only limited to that. But it also says further prolonged school closures interrupt and disrupt the provisional and access of essential school-based services such as school feeding, nutrition programs, immunization, mental and physical health. Our own Dr. Gustafsson, who wrote then a blog to the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, had this to say: disruptions in schools that we saw last year had denied learners their usual classroom experiences with teachers and other learners. They were serious for younger learners who were most in need of contact disruptions. So I can say, I think we are all witnesses to it. For 2020, so I have to explain the context so they understand that we didn't do it by magic. Again, we had to work very hard. There was targeted support aimed at ensuring that all learners receive maximum opportunities to succeed, that learner programs had to encompass broad collection of educational strategies, including supplementary materials, textbooks, guides. And this class, for instance, never had vacations after we opened. They were at school in June, they were in school in September, and they had to sacrifice weekends, they had long hours in schools. But more gratifying is that our teachers themselves assisted a lot in making sure that they sacrifice their own time in the work, even beyond the call of duty. But there were also volunteers that were mobilized to support learners during this period. We had professionals from different universities who came with all different strategies. There were ICT interventions, including the provision of devices, data, online content, virtual classes, broadcast, and radio lessons. And also schools provided specific learner support programs to address specific performance results or trends. The different NGOs in the country, corporates, and all different corporates, and we really want to thank Corporate South Africa, different institutions of higher learning, the different committee groups, and volunteers came to the party to support us. For instance, the National Education Collaboration Trust, through its WOZA Matric, campaigned and worked very close with their partners to make sure that indeed we support the class of 2020. And for that, we remain eternally grateful. We also want to commend all our learners, our teachers, our senior management teams, our support staff, parents, and our officials for the resilience they have shown in braving the novel COVID-19 pandemic, so that we're not scared ourselves. But we felt we have to live side by side with the corona for the sake of our children and their future. They had to work hard to make sure that the class of 2020 received optimum support, which was indispensable to their program. And before I just give you the real results, let me tell you, because one of my biggest fears was Umalusi, so I have to quote what Umalusi says. After the leak of the maths and science papers, that's why I said, let them rewrite. I don't want headache, so I don't want to go and fight with Umalusi. So it says, and I quote, having noted with concern the serious irregularities regarding the leakage of mathematics paper 2 and physical science paper 2, Umalusi says, it's a pity I'm reading it, you won't see my emphasis. It says in bold, it is satisfied that there were no systemic irregularities that were reported, which might have compromised the overall credibility and integrity of the November 2020 examinations, which were administered by DBE. Therefore, it's not myself saying, Malusi approves the results of the DBE results of the November 2020 NSC exam. So this is what we're giving legally, and it has been approved by the highest decision-making body in terms of the credibility and integrity of exams. So I really want to advise all of you to go and read fully, so we don't have enough time to really go through what Umalusi would have said. This class, it's the second cohort that wrote 12 subjects, offering the South African Sign Language as a home language, which was written by 100 candidates. It's the cohort that wrote civil technologies, mechanical technologies, electrical technology. It's the second cohort, it's the second year that we're presenting that. And each of these areas have technical mathematics, which I'm told is sometimes more difficult than your usual maths, and technical science, which was written by about 40,856 candidates. But it was also a cohort which was impacted by different policies, like the policy of progression. Normally, with the policy of progression the previous years, we used to encourage learners to only write subjects that they were ready with and assist them to write the remaining subjects. But this year, they all had to write all 6 subjects in one sitting, so there was no multiple presentation. So there were no multiple opportunities for exams. We also, for the first time, broke the paper of accounting and business accounting to paper 1 and paper 2, and it was the first time that we do that. But also, to our pleasure, in 2018, DBE and universities agreed on to abolish your designated list of subjects, which means every subject will qualify learners for universities, which was not the case in the past, and it was a problem. So this year, we had a total number for 2020, number that was registered, which is 725,034, and of those 607, 226 were the full-time candidates, which we will report at length with, and then the others won't be reporting on today. And the 117,800 were part-time candidates. Again, the results will be contained in the full text. I won't be able to go through them. So in addition to the full-time and part-time candidates who enrolled for the 2020 NEC exams, we had to combine the June and the December exams, which then led us to a total of more than 1 million learners or candidates at one single sitting, which was a new phenomenon for us, which presented major logistics for us. So for these exams, there were 147 question papers that were set. We printed 8 million question papers and produced or had to mark 706 million scripts. And they were delivered in the different centers. As you could have, the teacher said, we had to break up because of social distancing. We needed more centers, more invigilators. We had almost 65,000 invigilators who had to invigilate our exams. And we had to appoint 45,272 markers, and who had to go and work in 179 marking centers. And I'm told that the DG visited all 179 marking centers to check if things were going well. So thank you very much, DG. So from the outset, I really want to advise that people should go and get the comprehensive statement from our website, which will give you all the details and profiles of our learners. So after going around, so you want the real story. So in the 2020 National Senior Exam, we saw, as I say, 70,560 learners which were progressed. So these are the learners that would have deemed weak when they're in grade 11, but felt that let's give them extra help. So which means we took this decision in 2018. And I'm sure if MECs knew that COVID was on the way, they would have said, no, we will not have time to give special support to learners who are not strong enough. But by the time the corona arrived, they were already in grade 12. They couldn't send them back to say, no, you need extra help. We don't have time and opportunity to do that. So 70,000 of them went through. More than 65,000 sat through the exam. And we can say of these students who needed extra support, which we couldn't offer in 2020, more than 24,000 of them passed. And good news, which is saying there's something also about Ndetemsu, about our assessment systems, because almost more than 3,000 of them got bachelors without the extra support. 10,000 of those learners that were progressed, more than 10,000 got diplomas. And more than 11,000 obtained the higher certificate. And I can say 1,655 distinctions came from that group. So we are very encouraged, despite the fact that because of the challenges we had in 2020, we're not able to support them fully. Again, we also strongly believe that an inclusive education system makes an immense contribution towards an inclusive economy to serve an inclusive society. We have, in the past few years, included tracking methods to track our progress in the performance of learners with special needs. So, Program Director, I can say from the 2020 group, more than 2,161 learners with special needs sat for the exam, and amongst those, 2,058 passed. And 943 of those 2,000 got bachelors. 582, so which means there were more bachelors from learners with special needs comparatively. 582 got higher diplomas, 28 got the diploma, got the national certificate, and 563 distinctions. We got 563 distinctions from these learners. But also what we do, we track also, because we want a whole basket of services to track how the provinces or how the sector is supporting children who come from poor backgrounds. So we track the performance of non-fee paying schools. And we can say of the 600 and something that wrote 607, 275 615 learners from no-fee schools got bachelors. 115 of them got diplomas, which in a way for us this year, and Digi tells me that we had more bachelors this year than we had in the previous years. So it means, I think, when the going gets tough and people get tough themselves, so this class has really made us made us proud. Did I say poor? Proud. So it means we're beginning to get more learners coming from poor communities, making it also in terms of high quality passes. So while the imperatives relate to equity and redress are systematically addressed, we must admit as a sector that there are stubborn inequalities that remain in the system. And government must continue to be applauded for its pro-poor policies, but it must continue to work hard to continue to close the gap between schools that serve the poor and schools that serve affluent communities, and that's what we're working on. But I'm also proud, as I said, the Minister of Social Development will pronounce more on learners that receive social grants. Again, in our full report, we've categorized that learners who are on the social grant, how many of them got this and how many got what. But the other section that are really, it's in a different paper because the speechwriter had not included, I said that this is important, about restorative justice on beneficiaries. Because it's very important also, as I said, to give our young learners the second chance. So for instance, full-time, do we call them prisoners? What's the prison? They're in prison. Or inmates. Oh, that's the correct one. So of the 133 inmates that that entered, only 124 wrote, I'm sure that's were released or other things. 71 of them got bachelors. So they might be judges of the future. From being an inmate to a judge, I think it's getting there. And 23 of them got diplomas, and 13 got high certificate, and none of them passed at the national senior certificate level, which is the Matric score. So the achievement of our inmates, I shouldn't say prisoners, inmates, 86.3% of them passed. But we also measure in terms of gender. I was counting as myself how many girls are here. I said, oh, 2 out of 4 here. But there were 72,000 more girls that were enrolled for exams. And 66,000 more came for exams. But I always say in terms of explaining, let me not get into this gender thing, otherwise I'll find myself being taken back to school when I just speak about it in passing. I have to explain all the way this, otherwise, so the results are, which is normally not the trend, 76.7% of the boys that wrote passed, against 75.8% of the girls that passed. But we can say more girls than boys achieved bachelor passes, and more girls than boys got the diploma passes, even in gateway subjects. Now, so program director, ladies and gentlemen, for the past 10 years, we have noted, as I say, that we are a system that is consistently improving. In 2009, we were at 6%. And then after 2009, we broke that rank and went into the 70. And the results for this year, the main thing I get, the overall past, including those progress learners that we're not able to support, stands at 76.2%, which is a drop, which is a drop of 5.1%. And Chair, as much as we had a drop, I'm really grateful to all South Africans for having helped us, because in essence, I was expecting a bloodbath. And I am very grateful and appreciative of our teachers, our learners, that indeed they held their own in very difficult conditions. We tried everything in our powers to claw back on lost time, which we couldn't. And if we have to look at that, excluding, and I'm not wanting to make them an excuse that if there are drops, we say it's progress learners. If we remove them, the TELSUF will be at 81.2%. If we had removed the learners, we're unable to support. But I'm very happy that indeed, in the midst of all the difficulties, we're able to stay at 76.2%, and as I said, with more quality passes this year. In terms of bachelors, this year we are at 36.4 compared to 36.9 in 2019. So the difference is 0.4% in terms of the bachelor passes. 0.5 or 0.5 years. But I'm told, which I am not using here, that there are more learners, if you look at numbers, who got bachelors, but I normally don't combine percentage and numbers. So what helps you is, of the 100 that had written, how many passed? And again, in terms of diplomas, we got 26% of our learners getting diplomas. We had 13.7 number of our learners getting your higher certificate. And this other one also, which I don't want to get the certificate of the ones who get national senior certificate, Baba Madota score, it's 0.01%. So only 61 of them will have been passed at your national senior certificate, 0.01%. So we want to say 1,777, 435 distinctions we had this year, which is an increase of 13.1% from the distinctions that we had achieved in 2019. So there's an increase in terms of distinctions. And we must commend the following provinces that they contributed immensely towards the distinctions: KZN, Gauteng, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and Limpopo. That Limpopo gives us very good results at individual level. So let me provide performance in terms of provincial and district levels. I think that's what Bodhisuf and other people do. Rizamagai. The 2020 NEC exams show that 3 provinces, if we remove the other learners we could not support, they did achieve about 70%. But that's not the issue, one those with progress learners. The Free State, again, that has taken their #1 spot. Next year. They got 85.1%, which is a decline of 3.2% from 2019. Gauteng got 83.8%, with a decline of 3.5% from 2019. The Western Cape got 79.9%, with a decline of 2.4%. KZN was highly impressed with KZN. It's a big province. It has the most learners in the country and a very difficult terrain. They went to position #4. So KZN got 77.6%, but also a declined with 3.7%. Northwest, which is permanently in the top 4, has now declined with 10.6%. And they achieved 76.2. Mpumalanga achieved 73.7%, which is a decline of 6.6%. Limpopo achieved 68.2, a decline of 5%. Eastern Cape achieved 68.1, a decline of 8.3%. And Northern Cape is closing at the bottom at 66%, with a whopping 10.5%, which is very sad. And I'll just mention the Free State, because I don't want to create an impression that we complain about progress learners. But when we're studying the results, we saw that if the Free State had removed the learners that we had said must be taken to grade 12 and be provided with support, and take them out, they would have stood at 91.6%. And most of the provinces would have been above 80. But it is also noteworthy when we analyze, because we also want to analyze other factors around provinces that have a good performance in terms of supporting non-fee schools. Again, the Free State, no, it's Gauteng, it's Free State that is ranked top. And also in terms of their private schools, they're still ranked top. So they become number one in non-fee paying schools and also became number one. Mpumalanga, which was also a surprise to us, is ranked second in terms of the support for no-fee schools. And then, so because we're already looking at the inclusive basket, and again, our full report says which province supports more your poor and non-fee paying schools. Let me report then on district level performance, because this is a very important level. Hey, oh, that in that age. Because the NDP recognizes districts as a crucial interface of the basic education sector in identifying best practice, sharing information, and providing support to schools. And the continued growth in the performance of districts is closely monitored by ourselves and provinces, from the monitoring and oversight of the performance of all schools, the fee-paying, the no-fee-paying schools, the subsidized special schools, and not only special schools, also your schools of specialization also are monitored at this level. And I must announce the top 10. And maybe Hilda knows why why I invited her as my special guest. Tshwane South, again, it's the top province national district, 2 years in succession, and 3 times in 5 years. And it's good she's relating for herself, because she's leaving the sector in March, and for that I really want you to join me to thank Mekekani for great service to our children in the country. Thank you very much. The second district is Gauteng West, the Big Sul. Or always. The third district is Gauteng North. The fourth top district is Johannesburg North in Gauteng. And the fifth top district is Sitibeng East in Gauteng. Then the seventh district, it's the sixth, yeah, it's Fezile in the Free State. The seventh is Thabo Mfutsanyane in the Free State, so it's 2 of them. And then the eighth, it's a tie between Metro North and West in the Western Cape and Ekurhuleni South at 85.4. And the 10th district is Muteo in the Free State. So Ntatel, if you can pride yourself that 6 out of 10, it's your districts. And thank you very much also for the great performance. But we also analyze in terms of provinces to say in the provinces which are the top districts, because that also helps us to have a sense that it's the top 10. I also had the bottom 10, and Matthew says, no, let's not do shaming today. Which had helped at some stage, and I'm really sad that Digo passed away, because it was in the shaming that I came to know him. When the Butterworth district was at the bottom, and I said when I was announcing results to say this district, and he phoned me the next day to say, please, let's come and talk and see how we can help my district. And from that year, we had a very productive interaction with him. He used to come here and mobilize Bakas and say, let's make sure that we educate our children. And he really, for all the years, and may his soul rest in peace. But the team in the office says, let's not get into name shaming. So in terms of the top districts in the different provinces, in the Eastern Cape, the leading district is Nelson Mandela. It's 75.5, and I really want to say to Tatu Gonzolola Siabulela Tatu for really holding that province, especially that district high at all times. In the Free State, your competitor, Kekana, Dr. Chuta. And I'm sure he's relieved that we're leaving this year, so he can, he can claim his spot of #1 district, but he's the leading district in the Free State. In Gauteng, I've already mentioned that it's Tshwane South, Kekana, it's ranked nationally, and as I said, the second year in succession and 3 times in 5 years. And indeed, Mayor Kekana, we want to take this opportunity to thank you and your team in the district for a sterling job. And we want to say fare thee well in your deserved break and all of the best. You have been a loyal and a good servant of the people of South Africa and her children. Thank you very much. In KZN, Ugu is a leading district in KZN, led by Umalume. My mother is a Sibiya, so Umalume lo. Usibiya madoda, obiya ngenkomo, abanye bebiya ngamahlahla, so Malume siyabonga. And I'll be coming back. I visited his district, and so fanti siyohlaba pha sibulela ukuthi hawu umalume usebenzile. In Waterberg, the leading district is Waterberg 2, and Limpopo, it's Waterberg 2. And you know, when I visited Waterberg last year, Mama Della kept on saying, Minister Kialwana, that's #1, Barata Basarati. And here she's made it, she's a leading district in Limpopo. In Buhlabela, the 2 leading districts, and which are tying, it's Umagoba and Tatemaja, and I want to say, Bantwana bakhethu sibonga kakhulu. In Bujana, like Baledi, again, we want to thank you and congratulate you. In Namakwa, in the Northern Cape, it's Minier Klute, and we say Baya Danki. And in the Western Cape, the leading district is Metro North, which is leading at 85.3. And again, we want to congratulate that district. So I could see the program director, program director. Second more conclusion. So indeed, to our district directors that we always meet with every term, I'm really looking forward to our meetings to share experiences and best practice. We also wish to thank all the district directors for their hard work, because indeed, they are the last mile towards the centerpiece of our sector, which is schools, where the learners and teachers are. And we are eternally grateful for their hard work, because basically the results that we're announcing here is the results of district managers, the teachers, and the parents. So program director, gentlemen, in conclusion, there's no doubt that we really have that the system has begun to reach the desired stability. Don't say the desired goal, stability. We needed to get the stability for us to get the right traction, which is healthy for a large system as large and as important as ours. It is a pity that we missed the 80% glass ceiling we achieved last year, but we also appreciate greatly the resilience of our schools, because we think the class of 2020 held its own under very difficult conditions that we were not very familiar with. As I said earlier, we've achieved high quality passes this year, especially the number of bachelors and diplomas. The overall pass mark has improved. The passes of distinctions is much higher this year, which is a hallmark of a performance of this class of 2020. That in terms of quality, we got more quality from this class ever in the system. We think we're of strong views that had it not been of this virus, this class could have given us the best performance in the system. We are indeed proud of the class of 2020, so I want to say to these young people who represent others, we are indeed very proud of your class, which persevered against such monumental challenges that our system was never exposed to in the past. It has been characterized by resilience, which withstood an unprecedented test of administering an examination of the largest number of candidates, faced by the worst pandemic in human history. So for that, DG, we're very grateful to your team and our officials. In celebrating the great achievements of the class of 2020, we also want to thank our principals in schools. We're always there in the evening, the morning, Saturdays. We really want to thank our school principals. We want to thank our teachers whose results are the ones that we're announcing today. Our support staff that supported schools, our parents who always stood behind us, even in the difficulties of whether we're closed or not closing, we're banding the year or not. Parents stood with us and supported us throughout. Schools that are the cold face of our system, we also want to thank them. And because the future of our learners and the prosperity of our nation is in the hands of our teachers and schools, and want to applaud them for the great work that they continue to do on a daily basis. But I also have to thank the portfolio and the select committees in Parliament for the support, the monitoring that they were giving us during this period. But I also want to thank my colleague, Dr. Regina Mhaule, all the MECs. We met much more frequently. Sometimes we used to meet 3 times a week. We'll meet on Monday and then agree to meet on Thursday and then Sunday evening, because it was not easy to really find our way through the difficulties. So I really want to thank all the MECs for the support, the guidance, and the resilience that they also, and the leadership that they really displayed during this period. But DG and the DEMSU and your colleagues in the provinces, we really want to thank you for the leadership and your stewardship of making sure that the sector remains on track, and all the officials in the sector. But more important and not least, I wish to thank our strategic partners, our teacher unions, our governing body associations, our business partners. Corporate South Africa really came to the party and supported us greatly during this period. So I want to also thank our business partners, Corporate South Africa, the NECT, which helped us to organize the WOZA Matric programs. I want to thank also our statutory bodies, Umalusi. As I said, when the exams leaked, I said, maybe let's rewrite so we want to thank them. And our SAIS, we want to thank SAIS, and all our statutory bodies, our researchers who kept on giving us quality information about what to do, what not to do, what to fear, so that even when we're debating about opening and closing of schools, we were armed by information, not only from our department, but from different researchers in our country. Your pediatricians used to give us information. We want before to say these ones will COVID quicker, so don't keep them away from school. So by the time health and everybody said, these ones will survive, the researchers in the country always want us to say, these small ones will cough this thing off. Don't keep them away from homes. For that, we're very grateful for them to really arm us with all the necessary information. But I really want to also thank our sister departments. I want to thank South Africans in general. I also want to thank Cabinet, because there were times when it was really tough to make decisions between whether we open or we close. And Cabinet stood by us, they guided us. If they felt we were too enthusiastic, they were able to say, pull back. South Africans are rightfully concerned because no one knows what this thing. So slow down, then we can move. So they really supported us greatly with the Minister of Health. For that, we are really. And as I say, I also want to thank the government party. I'm not saying them, they helped. They had to help us in communities, mobilize people. When schools were vandalized, I used to run home and say, our schools are being finished, please go and organize the structures to protect our schools. And they did come to the party. And I think it's fair. I give a rekis, but it's fair to thank them. I really want to thank them and the community structures, your policing forums, which helped us. So Program Director, thank you very much. And also on behalf, just to these learners, on behalf of the government and everybody, we want to thank you for persevering and really making us proud this year. Otherwise, I don't know if we didn't write exam. I'm not sure what we'll be doing last year. But thank you very much for really helping us to have an orderly transition into 2020. Otherwise, We will be dear Makar, we will not be knowing whether we're coming or going. And thank you very much for your resilience and your support.
Thank you very much, Minister Motshekga. That was the Basic Education Minister, Minister Angie Motshekga, who was announcing the 2020 results for the National Senior Certificate. Please, once again, let's give our learners a round of applause. And for now, before we even go further, we're going to be going into our awards ceremony. But before that, we've got a short video to show to you.
For them to write a nice message to our kids to say, come to school every day. So we need something by the kids, for the kids. So if you can get a nice voice for a child, someone beautiful, someone with lots of energy, all the way.
Well, what did you think about that? Did you hear that the video actually features the voice of the Director General, Ntate Mueli? Yeah, I mean, the song really was inspired by him, and everywhere he went last year, particularly with regards to the different campsites where the learners had to go for the last, lap of preparing for the NSC examinations, he told the kids to come to school every single day, even on days that they were actually not writing. So I'm actually very, very happy. The song will be available all of this week on all platforms to download, and the proceeds of that will go to various learner support programs, and I'm very, very happy about that. That was not my idea. It was the idea of Mr. Elijah Mhlanga together with his friend Jonina, and they decided to make this contribution on their own. Okay, so share the song, play it every day for every single person to hear the message. I think it's quite a hopeful video. Don't you agree, Minister Motshekga? Thank you very much. Now, I think we're about to get into the moment for which we all have been waiting. As I stated earlier on, the various candidates that did well in 2020 are in their various provinces. So we will try to, try to connect via live stream. And I did say earlier on when I started the program that this is but a technical year. So I think be patient with us, particularly with trying as much as possible to connect. Are we ready? Yes, are we all ready? Great. We will start with the minister's favorite subject that she actually mentioned today, mathematics. No, Minister, I think it's fine because we're trying to let the learners, try to be socially distant. I think what I would like to inform all of the learners, especially also the learners that are featured across the entire country, I will announce in third place, I will announce the person in second place, and I think the third and second positions, if you could please just stand up. Wherever you are in the country, do stand up, please. Wherever you are in the country, doesn't really matter, because the cameras will go straight to you, and then if you are the winner or the first prize recipient of that particular subject, then you will take a picture with your MEC in that particular province. Okay, so let's go. In position 3, for mathematics, from the Eastern Cape, we've got Reynard Buys. In second place, we have from the Western Cape, Veron Naidu. There they are. And in first place for mathematics, also from the Western Cape, Daniel Alwyn Gous. Give them once again a wonderful round of applause. Those were the top learners for mathematics. And then physical sciences. In position 3, we have from Gauteng, Takudzwa Chikonye. Congratulations, Takudzwa. I must say, Emisili Sufi, that Takudzwa is actually a learner of one of my friends and colleagues, so I'm actually quite proud of him. Well done. And in second place, we have Stephanus Johannes Krier from the KwaZulu-Natal province. Well done, Stephanus. And the top learner for physical science from the Gauteng province, Carla Reineke. That will Sufi, if we can. That will Sufi, if you could please just come and take a picture with the top physical science learner. Thank you so much, Minister. Well done, well done. Here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Emisili Sufi. For technical mathematics, in third place for technical mathematics, we've got Lungisani Mduba. In second place for technical mathematics, from Mpumalanga province, we have got Mtobisi Brian Hlachwayo. Well done. There they are. And the top performing learner for technical mathematics, also from Mpumalanga, we've got Peace Sipiwe Pangisa. Peace Sipiwe Pangisa. Well done to those learners. And in technical sciences, we have in third position from Mpumalanga, Eric Mlondi Mavimbela. In second place, from the KwaZulu-Natal province, we've got Ncebo Lindoguhle Mthethwa. There they are, well done. And in first place for technical sciences, also from the KwaZulu-Natal province, we have Pumlani Kwanele Zuma. There is, well done, Pumlani, well done. It's amazing what technology can do, hey? Yes. And now the various quintiles. As most of you would note, South Africa has got 5 quintiles, and we divide our schools into the various quintiles. We will begin with quintile 1. So the third place learner from a quintile 1 school, all the way from Limpopo, we have Pearl Khoza in third position. And in second position, from Mpumalanga, we've got Dester Gabriel de Selene. And the top performing quintile 1 learner, we have from Gauteng, Blessing Mlambo. Thank you very much. Quintile 2. In the quintile 2 stream, in third position, from the Eastern Cape, we've got Simamkele Bongo. And in second position, we have from KwaZulu-Natal, Tembelihle Innocentia Apilile Tsengane. And in first position for the quintile 2 stream, all the way from the northwest, we have Tapiwa God Knows Mauvera. Well done to those learners. And in quintile 3, in third position from KwaZulu-Natal, we have Luyanda Kuzwayo. Well done, Luyanda. In second position, we have from the Western Cape, Ayabukwa Nombela. And scooping the first prize for quintile 3, all the way from the northwest, Lerato Babalo Tuba. Well done. And for the quintile 4, in position 3, from the northwest, we have Yana Geyser. In second position, all the way from Mpumalanga, we've got Willem Lodewijk Kippershoek. Well done. And the top quintile 4 learner, all the way from the KwaZulu-Natal province, we have Deepika Sumaru. Well done. Right, and then in the Quintile 5 Awards, in third place for the Quintile 5 stream, we have Sonika Roo. She is from the Western Cape. Sonika Roo, all the way from the Western Cape. And in second position, all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, we have Colombe Cynthia Obono Eyono. All the way from KwaZulu-Natal. Well done. And in first place in the Quintile 5 stream, all the way from the Eastern Cape, congratulations, Reynard Buys. Now we have two special ministerial awards. The first goes to one of our Gauteng learners. Her name is Della Rose Cooper. Congratulations, Della Rose. If Minister if MEC Lissu, if you could please. Congratulations, congratulations, Della Rose Cooper. Against all odds, hey. And the next special award goes to, all the way from the Western Cape, Sonia Jemima Jonkers. All the way from the Western Cape. Congratulations, Sonia, congratulations. And then I think we've got the last category, which is the South African Sign Language category. In third position, all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, we have Khadija Hansrod, all the way from KwaZulu-Natal. And in second place, all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, we have Sinoyolo Sisekelo Ngubani. And the top South African Sign Language candidate for the year 2020, and I'm very, very proud that, Minister, that this is actually truly happening in your time. The top learner for South African Sign Language is Daniel Johannes Eminis. All the way from the Gauteng province. Congratulations to all of our candidates. Congratulations to everybody that received either a commendation or an award or both. Datemwili, where were you when I told people that you were featured in one of the videos, and the house went quite joyful? I'd like to call you up to come and give the vote of thanks, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngobeni. It will be mentioned, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Ngobeni. I will recommend you for a performance bonus. Yeah, provided that it's approved by Deputy Minister and the Minister. Program Director, thank you very much. Let me start by thanking you for navigating this afternoon for us. You did an excellent job. Can you please put your hands together for the Program Director? Thank you. I also want to convey our greatest word of appreciation and thanks to the class of 2020. You are our superstars. You are the best ever. You have proven that performance cannot be based on overall pass rate only. There are many dimensions to performance, and you have demonstrated that, and we are eternally grateful. We are very proud of you, as the Minister said. The Minister likes saying, the world is your oyster. We have prepared you for 12 years, and we are proud to release you to the world. Let's put our hands together for the class of 22. And in the same vein, as the Minister has conveyed already, our unsung heroes and heroines are our teachers. Men and women who had to face the challenge of stabilizing the school environment, the classroom, working extremely hard under difficult conditions. We are eternally grateful to each one of them. Let's put our hands together for our teachers, please. Thank you very much. I also want to thank my colleagues, officials at all levels of the system, DM. We've got a special team in basic education. So we want to thank them as well. But let me focus on thanking our sponsors, MTN, your first event to host, particularly an activity of this nature. I heard people saying Kikabu Yellow. So I don't always go for Kabu Yellow in football, but when it comes to MTN, I'm sold out to Kabu Yellow. Thank you very much, MTN. And I also thank, I would like to thank AFBOB. You've been with us all the way. I said in the past, with basic education, you don't only see human beings when they leave this earth. You see them when they begin to live on this earth. It's a very good investment. Give AFBOB a big hand of applause. Thank you, AFBOB. Ntsika, you've been a wonderful partner. You've walked the path with us. We are very proud of you, and thank you for your investment in education. You invest in the future of our country. Let's give Ntsika a big hand of applause. And Fundi, I also want to convey our greatest appreciation and thanks for your support and your investment. And in the same vein, Vodacom, you've always walked alongside with us, as well as Kagiso Trust. These are our excellent sponsors and partners who continue to invest in the basic education sector. Let's give them a big hand of applause. I also want to take this opportunity to convey our greatest appreciation and thanks to the Minister. Minister, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being calm. Especially, I always maintain that we've got an excellent minister and deputy minister. When things are tough and you look up to them, they will never fail you. Put your hands together, please, to thank the minister. And in the same vein, to thank our MECs. We've got excellent leadership in this sector, as well as my colleagues who are working extremely hard, as the Minister said earlier on. Remusue, thank you very much for the wonderful work that you are doing. All the officials, including Makekana. I've never seen something like this, Minister. She retires as a champion, and you do it with dignity and style. And lastly, I would have failed in carrying out this task for not thanking our President, Minister. I remember that day when we went to present to the National Coronavirus Command Council, and subsequent to that, we went to Cabinet. When the whole nation was divided over the reopening of schools, Cabinet and the President stood together and gave us very clear instructions that you are going to reopen schools provided that you save lives and you save the academic year. We are eternally grateful to the leadership of our President and our Cabinet. We are led exceptionally well in our country. Let's put our heads together for the President. And lastly, Minister, I want to thank all the officials, especially the senior managers also from the department, the media, the organizing team. Mr. Mhlanga, you're doing very well, but you bring some of the songs too early, man. They were supposed to have been processed through a submission. You missed, processing these things through the submission and then before presenting them to the public. Otherwise, thank you very much. I want to thank our parents. Thank you for displaying your confidence in us. And again, thank our teachers for a wonderful job. Thank you very much, and thank to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. Now, before we end off our program, we will announce the top performing learner in the entire country. South Africa's top performing learner. The top performing learner in the Republic of South Africa. Afrika Borwa. The whole of South Africa. All the way from the Eastern Cape. Congratulations, Reynard Buys. If we could please all virtually give him a standing ovation. Congratulations. Thank you very much. If you could please all be seated. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our program. But before we close off, I'd like to state something to all of the Matrics. The first is that congratulations for making it this far. Congratulations for even attempting to go sit on those desks and write. What a technical year it was, and I think, Minister, I cannot emphasize it more than enough. A very technical year, and I think it kind of doubled, and in some other instances, trebled the work for some, educators and some of the kids. But most importantly, you leave today as matriculants who come from a greater village and a greater body. And that village comes in the form of that grade 1 teacher that taught you to write your name, that maths teacher that took out all of his Saturdays and sacrificed so that you could get all those distinctions. That village is also a village of that grandmother who took out her last 10 rand to ensure that you go and get on a taxi. So congratulations to every single one who wrote those exams. And if you did not make it, remember, like the minister always says, there are second chance programs. Do not falter. Do not lose hope. I'm signing out. I'm Itumele Mohane wa Puting, and it's been quite a great pleasure to be with you today. Goodbye.